This week on TGC News, Matador and CMMG have enclosed recoil system guns, Cadex, Bergara, and Dillon have some sweet new rifles, Zenk has a bullpup revolver, and Rock Island goes Hawaii 5-0. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collector News, the only gun news show that covers things that you actually care about. My name is Jon Patton. We've got tons to cover this week, so let's jump right in. First up, something new from Matador Arms. This is the Mat 9 Upper. It appears to be an updated version of their old Montgo 9 enclosed recoil system upper. This new Mat 9 is a bit fancier looking on the exterior, at least in these renderings, and appears to have shed some weight at about 0.2 pounds lighter than the older one. It's got an 8-inch barrel, non-reciprocating charging handle, and the key part is how it works with lowers. According to them, you can run this on AR-9 lowers that take Glock, SIG, Colt, MP5, or Scorpion mags, and then you can alternatively set this up with one of their magwell blocks on a regular AR-15 lower as well. They also say it requires no tools to take down and clean, which is kind of nice. Hopefully soon we get to see more than just renderings, because renderings don't really tell us much. MSRP on this is a not super offensive $600, which puts it in a pretty affordable spot by comparison to other options out there. You know what else is pretty affordable compared to other options? The Alias system from Neomag. The Alias by Neomag offers unparalleled concealment, strength, and modularity. Using one of their universal holster clips and receivers, you can mount your holstered gun to just about anything. Your belt, your Vertex bag or safe, your nightstand or desk, or even without a belt at all using their new beltless receiver. Click your holster into the next evolution of everyday carry. To get yourself a free universal holster clip when you buy your first receiver, use our code TGCAlias over at theneomag.com. These segues are great. Next up this week, another bufferless system, this time from CMMG. It's called the Descent Mark 57. Essentially, this is the Descent upper setup for 5.7 cartridge with a 6.5-inch barrel, Trigger Tech trigger, and all of the other accoutrements of the Descent, combined with the regular Mark 57 lower that you might find on their Banshee or Resolute that accepts FN57 mags. So you can get the Descent now with either the AR style conversion mags that CMMG sells, or with a lower that takes the FN57 mags. So I guess if you had a 5.7, that would make sense. The price tag for this is $2,200. It's not cheap. Also, interestingly enough, the AR conversion mag version is $200 less. I'd love to hear from you guys if you would buy one of these over a 5.56 version of the same gun. Moving on from there, how's about some bolt action rifles? We've got 3 new ones for you this week. Canadian rifle company Cadex Defense recently released their CDX SS 7 stars covert rifle. Long story short, this appears to be a sort of truncated version of their Kraken rifle that we covered before. This one, as the name suggests, is meant to be a little bit more subtle. In Canada, this has an 11-inch threaded barrel for attaching a can that fits under the handguard. In the US, though, you're stuck with a 16.5-inch version for can attachment. It's got a folding, adjustable stock, it takes AICS pattern mags, and overall looks like Call of Duty come to life. You can get them all with Bartline barrels chambered in 223, 300 black, 308, and 6.5 Creedmoor. Honestly, it looks pretty rad, and the price, well, that demands that it be rad by default. There is no price listed on their site, but a little digging says that it's going to retail for around $5,700. Ouch. The cool guy tax is pretty high on that one. Bergara announced a carbon fiber barrel version of their Ridge and HMR rifles, which is cool, but they also introduced a new model called the B14 Squared Crest. They say that this has taken all of the advantages from all of the B14 models and blended them into this new barreled action called the B14 Squared. That is then dropped into a carbon fiber stock that is assembled using resin impregnated carbon and a carbon spine to help with overall rigidity. Sounds like they're learning from bike manufacturers. This particular model comes in 308, 6.5 Creed, 6.5 PRC, or 300 Win Mag, all with a 20-inch fluted barrel, except the Win Mag, which is a 22-inch. They also take AICS pattern magazines, and I'll be honest, I think this is where hunting rifles are headed. Precision shooting is influencing stock designs pretty heavily, and people are starting to realize that traditional stocks don't really cut it for every setup. And I suppose we shall see how these hold up. The price for such a thing is $19.99, aka $2,000 across the board, and they come with a sub-MOA guarantee. I hope so for that money. $2,000, it better shoot sub-MOA. Damn. Next up is an even more expensive bolt gun, and this one is a bit more unique. It's from Dillon Rifle Company. Yes, the same Dillon name that is attached to this. Leave a comment if you want to see one of those miniguns mounted inside my van. Now, this is their new sister company, and their first rifle is a banger, pun intended. It's called the TAC 501, and according to the website, is built on the Macmillan TAC 50 legacy, whatever that means. Either way, this thing is beefy. It comes with a 27.5-inch stainless steel barrel chambered in 50 BMG and has a 1 in 15-inch twist. That is capped off with a gigantic muzzle brake, of course. I mean, you kind of have to. The stock is made by Grayboe and has M-LOK slots down the sides and bottom where the included Atlas bipod mounts. They claim that this thing is capable of sub-MOA accuracy with a good shooter and good ammo, and for 50 BMG, that's not super common. And the gun weighs 28 pounds without an optic, which likely helps with that precision. It also comes with a cleaning kit and a fancy case, and it probably should, considering it carries an MSRP of $10,500. That's not cheap by any means, and with magazines that retail for $375 each. You might be going, WTF, but precision 50 BMG shooting is not a poor man's game, and this is one of those things that I would absolutely love to own, but it's questionable if I could ever acquire it. Maybe I can convince them to let me shoot one when we mount the minigun in the van. I'm really pushing for that. Before we get to the handguns we're covering, how about the deal of the week? You guys seem to like that. This time, it's a deal on Caldwell targets. It appears to be one of the best deals that you can get on the orange peel style targets. And I actually really enjoy this type of target, whether we're like zeroing something, just confirming accuracy, just want to see the hits from farther away. If you use our link, you get 20% off of anything over at Caldwell, including those targets. Or you could also use the Amazon link, which is still a solid price if you want to keep buying on Amazon. Okay, some handguns and then something important, I think. First is one of the weirdest guns I've seen in a while. It's called the RZMK 357. And it's essentially a bullpup revolver. It has a 4.75-inch barrel, holds 6 rounds of 357 or 38 special, and is a double-action only gun. The thing that makes this so different is that instead of having a permanently attached cylinder and putting rounds into the gun that way, this has a sort of removable cylinder magazine that you would sort of open the gun, insert, and then close it back up before shooting the next shot string. They say that this is a better balanced handgun with more of the weight shifted rearward, and they also claim that it has a longer barrel for more accuracy. Not sure if a sub 5-inch barrel can claim such a thing, but let's compare it to a standard revolver in terms of length. Smith & Wesson 686 with a barrel just over 4 inches long has an overall length of roughly 9.5 inches. The Zenk Rhythmic, I'm calling it that, whatever, has an overall length of 6.85 inches, just over 2.5 inches shorter and about 6 ounces lighter. At the same time, we have to question whether or not flipping the gun open to load the cylinder in is fast enough for a defensive gun, which would sort of be where most folks will be using this gun, I would suspect. There's also no price listed, so this could be some crazy nonsense overpriced gun that never comes to life anyway. It's hard to say because we only have renderings. This isn't a real gun yet at this point. The last gun that made big claims based on renderings and sucked in a bunch of money was the Ideal Conceal Folding Cell Phone gun. And that was an absolute shit show on delivery. It took years to get it, and the company is now dead. So I'm not holding my breath on this Rhythmic 357. What a bad name. Next up is the Rock Island Armory 5.0 ST. This gun also has a super interesting operating system. On the surface, you have a hammer-fired 9mm with 17 round mags. It's not crazy, right? But then we look closer and the 4.9-inch barrel is sort of square in profile. You can especially see that from the muzzle. This is due to a sort of linear recoil system where the barrel does not tilt like a lot of guns out there. The barrel is also buried into the frame, which has a sort of CZ75 style setup where the slide rides inside the frame as opposed to many other guns where it rides on the outside. The lower bore axis, in theory, means lower felt recoil. The frame itself is made from aluminum and has a polymer sort of grip section. That is similar to how some 2011 style guns handle things. The overall weight on this gun is just shy of 2.5 pounds or 39 ounces. That is not light. For reference, the 320 Spectre Comp from SIG, which is a competition gun, weighs a little over 2 ounces more. So arguably, this is closer to a competition gun than a carry gun. I know some neckbeard in the comments will tell me, you could carry any gun. I know, dummy. My point is, it's heavy. Also, if you consider the chunky profile of that barrel, it's gonna be sort of front heavy. There's a lot of weight there, which again helps with felt recoil. The other thing to note is that there is an initial run of optic cut guns, but they use the Seymour footprint, which I find strange. It must be some kind of like partnership deal. Otherwise, they come with an adjustable rear and a fiber optic front sight. The trigger has a safety dingus and is said to be 4.5 pounds. So overall, this thing sounds cool as hell. In theory, with the super low bore axis, this could shoot very flat, very fast, etc., and it's probably going to be a lot of fun. The MSRP is $1,000. It's not super offensive for some interesting technology, and if it's good, if it's as good as they say it is, that's a solid price, I think. We always want it cheaper, of course. Now, I want to address something about our latest review video. It was on a Taurus 856 executive grade, go watch it if you want to, and we had a screw fall out while shooting, and the gun came apart. When it happened, I immediately got a hold of Taurus and let them know what happened. I told them it was definitely going to go in the video, and they actually didn't fight me at all. Sometimes, like, oh, you sure you want to put that in? Yes. And they were like, cool, go ahead, put it out. Fast forward to last week. The video goes out, and I got a bunch of comments suggesting that it was somehow my fault for not checking the screws and that this happens all the time. It's 2023, and parts falling off of guns that are brand new is bull, and Taurus executives concur. You don't accept parts falling off of any other type of gun when it's virtually brand new. Why accept that because it's a revolver? What if it fell apart in a defensive scenario? Someone could literally die. That would be unacceptable, right? Some folks suggested that I should have checked the screws before shooting a gun. I am not the QC department for a gun company. You don't torque the lug nuts on your car after you drive it off the lot. You trust that it's done right. This is no different. Despite what the neo-fuds in the comments said, Taurus actually agreed with me, and I'm told they changed their assembly process back in November when my issue was first reported. I flat out reject the statement. I reject this idea that this type of thing is at all acceptable, and somehow that it was wrong for me to show it and point it out as unacceptable. But I'm only one guy. What do you guys think? Was it handled well by Taurus? I think it was. Should this kind of stuff be accepted on any revolver? Should someone like me that isn't a revolver expert be sharing their experiences with a gun? I never claimed to be an expert. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.